Hi and welcome to the video. Now recently Ancestry has released two new search functions, Face Search and Smart Search, and they're both beta, so you may not see them everywhere, but it will be coming soon. And within Ancestry you can get completely different results depending how you search. So there is certain searching techniques we all need to know about Ancestry, and I thought this was a good time to remind ourselves about how we should go about searching Ancestry and how we can get those different results depending on what we're looking for. Now this will look at broad searching. If you're looking for something specific, we'll deal with that a little bit later. So here we are, one of my relatives, Elizabeth Young, and I'll go there and do an Ancestry search like a lot of people do, just search on Ancestry. And this will bring in obviously the search page, and once we get to the search page we can see how that works within Ancestry. So we've got the search to find some results. There's a number of things already in my tree. But what I want to draw your attention to is this block here on the left hand side. What Ancestry has done is they've pre-filled a lot of these fields. And I'm working in the United States, but I'm researching in England, and this is key. If you see focus here, United States, you can see the records I have here. Let me just go ahead and change the focus to UK and Ireland and apply that. And we'll see how that changes right away within Ancestry. So you can see different results. So that's one thing you really need to be aware of. If you're researching a different country, we need to really look at this focus area. And then within this block here, this will filter it down. Now if you've got a profile that has bad information in it, this may lead you astray. And the way we can take this off is we can do edit search here, and we'll remove some of these things. So maybe I wasn't quite sure about all these relatives, and I can click these off here, and maybe, you know, some of the children. So there's a lot of information here, and I tend to, if I'm doing a broad search, click most of this off. Now here at the bottom here, now here's my focus that I was talking about, but I may not be interested in family trees or photographs and maps. So let's go ahead and click those two off as well, and we can do another search. And we'll see what those kind of results will bring us. And again, a completely different set of results now. A completely different set. So we can see we've got here, and I can move this around a little bit and change. If I wanted to go to the county, I can apply that. And this will change the search as well. See a different set of searching. So we can see very quickly how we can really change what comes up on the searching. So we need to be very aware. And just a couple of things, again, you should know we've got wildcards here. So if I didn't know what was really doing with Elizabeth, I could do this asterisk here. And that means any number of different types of characters. So that could be Elizabeth, Eliza, Elizy, or whatever. And then I can actually, let's just take the Harris out of here, and I can put a question mark, which basically means a different character. So that's just one character that changes. And again, let me just do that search again, and we'll get a different, well, we've not got a bunch of different results, but we've got an Eliza here now, Eliza Young, Eliza. So we can mess around with the wildcards, as we can see here, and we can mess around with the filters. Now these filters down here, let me show you here. This is a set of filters. And when we first do a search, let me just go back into Elizabeth and reset this search a little bit. We'll go back into the profile. Ancestry is not working that quickly this morning, and we'll just kick that search off again, and we'll bring in all the results we saw previously. Again, the default, and we can see all the filters down here now, and we can change. We can just go to census, voter list, whatever we want to do. We can filter down here and break it down, and most people probably know how to do this, but this is based on the search that you have done above here. You can see they've all clicked in again. Okay, so we've got all the results here. Now within the search themselves here, we can go and look at Elizabeth Young once more time. And let's just go to maybe Richard Harris, and let's do a different search on Richard. And we can see what we need to do here is quickly look on Ancestry, and we'll see how the smart search works here. We'll look at Richard here. So we see Richard. These are the default results. We've got UK and Ireland now. And let me switch to smart search. So if you've got this new beta, we'll see smart search here. Let me just click on this. So here we are at Richard Harris's smart search, and it's laid out completely different to the standard search or classic search. So we can see there are some filters here that we saw in the last one. We have birth, death, marriage and residence over here, and within those there's a toggle bar to move the dates around if we wish to, and they all look very similar. The problem with this, as I see it, is that the details, if you remember, there was a lot of criteria brought over by Ancestry to filter the search for Richard on the classic search. Well, it's hidden up here, and it's not going to be immediately obvious. You can see these are the criteria that we had before on the classic search. Now it's hidden at the top. And this influences, as we saw, what's available on the search. So it's UK poll books is the first one. If we switch back to classic search here, the top result is a marriage and a member photos. Here in the smart search, it's a poll book. So it is bringing different things up, and we should use both of them. It's hard to tell which is better right now, but if I go and filter this down in the same way as I would within the classic search, I don't necessarily want to use all these the first time round. So let me click off some of these, just like we did in the classic, and do a search. We'll see the results are now different. We have a baptism first, and I can change the date and so forth. So that's the top. We have people now, which are essentially family trees, and photos. We'll look at search by face later on, and then records. So classically different, if you like. The classic search is different. The smart search is different. If Ancestry is saying this is used with AI, then that's very good. But currently, I don't see a lot of difference between the results. I'd want to look at both, but the results are different. When we go back to classic search, we'll see something strange that also happens as well. These toggle bars, your search toggle bars, have now moved to a more exact search, and you'll see there's no records. It says no records, and it's because it's done this. It's brought this back from smart search, and I think that's a bug they'll probably try and iron out. Let me move them back across here, reapply it, and we'll see that the results come back from Richard. So that looks more like a bug to me than anything else. It shouldn't really do it that way. Now obviously we're using what I'd call a profile search. The other classical way, I think, of searching is actually to search by a record type. So for instance, if I was looking for Richard in the 1841 English census, I would go to the census here, and this is probably a better way of looking for somebody within a collection rather than relying on the profile search, because it gives me a lot more information around the census collection. Let me just pull up the right one. We'll get the English census here. And what happens here, now I've got more criteria I can use that is applicable to a census. So let me just put Richard Harrison again. We can pull his details down. Oh, we've got the wrong family tree. So let me pull the right family tree here, and we'll get Richard Harris. Pulls a few details, but remember this is just details to do with the census, so there's not all family here, and we can do a search. So profile searching is great for looking at different broad searching, if you like. If I'm doing a specific search, I wouldn't necessarily look for the 1841 census within the profile. I'd go directly to the census, and it gives me a better feel, and the results are laid out in a little better way, I think. So that's the two profiles. So what I want to do now is go over and look at a different type of searching, and we'll use that on Ernest Hemingway. We'll look at catalog searches. So let me pull up Ernest Hemingway. This is what I use to teach, and we can see similar things to my tree, Richard Harris. If we do a search on Ancestry, we get the classical search with all the things. We see, look, it's defaulted to UK. I need to bring that back to the US. So again, something to keep an eye on. And I also have my smart search here for Ernest Hemingway. But what I want to do, well, we don't need to know about that because I'm telling you about it. What we want to do is actually go and look at the card catalogue. Now this is something that people don't use it often enough because these may be buried at the end of your searches or not even come across at all. So let's just do a quick look on Ernest Hemingway. I know he was in Key West, so I can just type in Key West here as the keywords. You can use pretty much anything you want. There's 34,000 record collections, so I can look at various criteria. Now there's filters. Let me filter that out by the US and Florida because we know where Key West is. I could filter by date as well, but there's only a few records here. So let's look at this guide to Key West. And one thing I want to look at as well, I'll tell you about, is how critical spelling is to Ancestry. So let me just do Ernest Hemingway, and let me deliberately misspell his name with 2 M's instead of 1. And let me do a search here. And there's no records come for Ernest Hemingway, even though it's not exact. I've got sounds like and similar, but it's not brought anything back at all. Let me just delete one of those M's here, and we'll do a search again, and we'll get some results. So that shows you how critical, and we should be using wildcards, how critical it is to get spelling right. You can miss people completely. So we're looking for Ernest Hemingway, looking for Key West. We happen to use the double M in Hemingway, and some of these records have 2 M's in, and we missed it completely. So card catalog, very, very important. I think this is probably where, in my opinion, where Ancestry needs to focus its AI, not on the profile, that works fine, but this really needs to be brought up to speed a little bit, I think, on AI. And the one thing we didn't touch on here is a search bar face. Now this is pretty new. You can either drag and drop an image or choose from the gallery. So we'll pull one from the gallery here. Let's see which tree. It's actually using my family tree. So let me just go to Hemingway family tree right now. And we'll look at pictures of Ernest's mother, Grace. And maybe expand this out a little bit. And then we can do a search. Now this is still evolving. I think we see a lot of genealogy sites. Google has this, Google Pictures has this, and now it's found a number of family trees that have this picture or a very similar picture, and then some other trees where the likeness is somewhat similar, but we can see it's not the same person. But it's an evolving technology. It's kind of useful. It's kind of potluck now if we find anything on this, but the problem again with images, because of the onset of AI images as well, and a lot of the images now are restored and enhanced and reproduced. A lot of images on Ancestry are not what I call legitimate validated photographs, so we'll have to take the rough with the smooth there. So anyway, let's go back to Richard. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this. What we've looked at really is the importance of using different search techniques within Ancestry. And once we've used different search techniques, we can see the results are very, very different. We took a brief look at the smart search, and I'm sure that this will get smarter, so to speak, but it does, in my mind, have some drawbacks. So anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. It's really, really important to a small genealogy channel like mine. And what's even more important is that you subscribe and ring the bell to see any more videos. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with your Ancestry searching, and if you find any new ways of using Ancestry in searches, please let me know in the comments below. Good luck with your searches. Have a great day. I'll speak to you all soon.